Hey guys, I want to welcome you guys back to Wrestling with Entrepreneurship. Today's guest, very high, energetic person, very much a person that you're kind of drawn to in a group, no matter what. That's my honest opinion. Shawna, why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about you, the business, the company, kind of that kind of shindig?
This question is always really hard to answer. Like, I get this all the time. So I'm a real estate agent. I'm a top agent in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I also run a top team in the state of Arkansas. But the story behind it is I'm a second generation realtor. So my mom got a real estate license, did it all through like middle school, high school. So I was around it my whole life, and I used to go with her and I liked doing it, but never in a million years did I think I would like end up doing this for a career. I don't know why. She had tried to get me to do real estate for a long time before, I actually got into it. And I was like, no. Like, I was a single mom. I didn't want to, I wanted a steady paycheck, as little as that paycheck was. Yeah. I wanted to be able to, have that security for me and my daughter. And so it took me a long time. Like, her best friend is my mentor in the business, and he had been telling me, hey, you do great at this. You should get your license. And so I signed up to get my license, and it took me 6 years from the time I signed up and paid for my license before I actually got my license.
Really?
Yeah. And then, but I was working a corporate job at that time. I'd already worked, like, grown up the corporate ladder. And so I was working as a CFO at the age of 34.
Oh, Jesus.
No college education. Well, I mean, some college education, but no degree.
Right.
I just worked my way up. And once you got to the top, it was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. They don't care. They didn't care about me. It was like, you have to be here whenever we want you to. I was pretty much 24/7 on call because I worked directly for the owner. Yeah. And he kind of treated me like an assistant, like a personal assistant, an executive assistant, the office manager, the CFO. Like, I wore a lot of hats. And so when my husband and I got married about 9 years, that's actually 9 years ago today is our anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
We decided to have a child together. So we're a blended family. And when we had Silas, our youngest, I had a C-section on a Tuesday, had to be back at work on a Friday. No joke. Their idea of maternity leave was me working from home. And I just remember telling my husband, like, this is not the life that I want. And I knew right then and there, like, they didn't care about my life, my personal time. There was no boundaries. And so I was like, this is not...
You were just another number. It sounds
yes,
like.
100%.
Yeah.
But obviously I was paid very well, right? So it's really hard to leave jobs like that because people don't leave jobs like that. Yeah. I mean, it's, a couple $100,000 a year. It's, they pay for your vehicle, your house. They paid for my kids, all of our family's health insurance, everything. Okay. Like, I didn't have to do real estate, I just happened to do it part-time. And then about 3 years into doing real estate part-time, along with my CFO job, something had come up, and I just looked at my husband and said, I think I'm quitting today.
Really?
And yeah, and I said, are you going to be mad if I quit my job? And because he'd already left Microsoft and was running our back office, so like there was no plan B. Like, I didn't have a second income. Yeah. This was it. And he was like, nope. He was so happy when I quit that job.
Really?
And the only regret I ever have is that I didn't do it sooner.
Okay. And so like on that span, you said it took 6 years. So like, to get your license, so you said you spent another 3 years of like part-timing?
Yeah, I say part-time, like quote unquote, because like the average agent, so there's like 1.6 million agents in North America. And out of those 1.6 million, there's only like a very small percentage that do more than 5 transactions a year.
Really?
So if you do the math on that, it's not even 1 every 2 months, right? Because that would be 6. So actually like 97% of agents don't sell more than 5 homes a year. And
how do you make a living on that?
I mean, when you figure that out, let me know, because it's a fact. It happens.
Really?
And for me, I was selling 12 to 14 homes part-time by accident while I was still working 50 to 60 hours at my CFO job.
All right.
So I was like,
so you had a knack for it, or like a...
Well, I always knew how to work. Yeah. And so I've always figured things out. And it's probably part of my upbringing where like my parents didn't sugarcoat or coddle or, any of those kinds of things. Like, if I wanted something I had to pay for it. I learned at a very young age I liked money. Fair enough. I always worked really hard. And then I worked in food industry. So like I waited tables all through high school and all through college because it was very easy because it was easy money. Right. But it was the harder you work, the more you make. Yeah. And so it kind of set the tone of like, oh, you mean like if I work really, like if I can make this much working this amount, like I can make this much if I work this amount. Right. And so I was like, I just kind of applied the same thing with this job. I
mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of like a lost skill, if you will. That's within the
I think everybody should have to be in food. I think everybody should have to have a job in the food industry, whether it be hosting or working a drive-through or waiting tables. I think it's life skills that you learn. And I think more than anything, it also gives you appreciation, and it allows you to, it keeps you from mistreating people that work those jobs.
Yep.
And so I just feel like there's a lot of good learning lessons that come out of it.
Especially very crappy if you had to put rollerblades on at a Sonic and do it. That's what I used to do.
Oh my gosh.
It sucked ass.
So the other day, a girl came out and was getting our drinks from Sonic, and she fell.
Yep, that happened
twice. And I was like, just take the skates off.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so sorry.
It's not mandatory.
Yeah, but I think you make more money, right, if you do
I think it's more of like a spec or like
flair.
I'm putting on a show type thing. So maybe add a little couple extra dollars onto it. But like,
she put on a show. She fell twice. I was like, I finally got out of my car and was like, are you okay?
I took a bath in the orange slush and stuff many times at Sonic. I mean, like your ethic or your belief that, or at least your outlook of it sounds like kind of like mine, right? I've been working since I was 12 years old. Lied on an application, worked at a Long John Silver's, and kind of just went to Sonic and everywhere else, grocery stores. Jumping into like, because you said you had like a not a permanent paycheck, but like
I had a steady paycheck. Right? Yeah.
Jumping into like sales full time, I mean, like nothing's guaranteed at that point.
No.
So like, what's the scariness about that? Because like I know what it was for me. Like I had the same like mindset, right? It's like I wanted to work at where there was like a warehouse or just doing grunt work, but I knew I had a paycheck every week.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until I just jumped in for like entrepreneurship that that's all you're doing is selling yourself at that point.
Oh yeah. Like you're selling yourself more than you are actually what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Because people will buy in if they like you. Yep. You know, we have this conversation all the time. People who know, like, and trust you will work with you. And so I think it's more that than what you do. They'll trust that you'll do a good job in whatever it is in any industry you're working in, if they like you as a person.
Sure. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, in my opinion, get scared about that, what we call is like callbacks, right? Like something went wrong or somebody backed out of the driveway and tore the grass up a little bit or something like that. I've heard someone say something about it.
Yeah, I've heard it happens, yeah.
I think so many people are worried about that type of feedback that, in my opinion, they don't realize that that's even more of an opportunity to grow that trust and that relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
It's not as about how you kind of mess it up. It's about how quickly you can kind of get it all back together.
Well, because there's no question, like, you're going to mess up things, right? If you do enough business and you get out there and you meet enough people and you actually work really hard, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to be able to please everybody. Trust me, I've had clients fire me. I've fired clients, and it's okay. What I found is that I've learned my biggest lessons from those situations.
Absolutely.
Because you can't grow if everything's perfect all the time, right?
Right, because then you don't know what struggle, you don't know where that gap is of growth and normality. That's not a word. Cut that part. I think like you said, it's right. You got to make that relationship, but on top of that, like you said, you fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
gonna mess up.
We're like a customer's podcast, though, right? Fuck it. Yeah, like you said, everyone's gonna mess up, and like some people are not gonna like you, and that's kind of is what it is, right? I used to have a hard time with like firing customers. I used to just
until you do it, and then you're like, oh.
Yeah, like I was like, I didn't know I could do this.
Yeah, it feels so good.
I don't have to do that crappy job that you only want to pay me like $40 for.
That's right.
Perfect. All right.
That's right.
Then it opens the door for something else.
That's right. Yeah. I've learned, this also just comes from like producing at a high level, right? Is that I have so much in my pipeline at all times. Like I'm always feeding my pipeline because I never want to be in a situation where my back's up against the wall where I have to sell this house to be able to pay my bills, because then people can treat you however they want. And trust me, there are people out there who will treat you however they want. And I just tell them, I don't say to them, I just let them go professionally, but I just look at my husband and I say, I would never let you talk to me like that. Like they're not going to talk to me like that either. I
think like they can read their room at that point, right? Like if you're trying to make that sale or that connection, you come off, whether you mean to or not, maybe like in your, what is it? Not your verbal so much, but your I can't.
But your physical? Yeah.
Like your body reads that.
Like your body language.
Yeah, body language. That's what it is. I'm having a brain fart here on this Tuesday, Monday.
I thought all day Tuesday. I thought all day yesterday was Tuesday.
I don't know what days are anymore. All I do is work and stuff.
Same.
It's the only thing I've ever been good at. So
I have to look at my calendar to keep up on the days, and it helps when my kids are in school, but then they're about to get out of school. So trust me, I'm not going to know what day of the week it is to come here in about a week. Yeah, they're all going to run together, and I'm going to be begging for school to start back up.
Well, let me ask you something, because like I keep up with your Facebook. Again, like I said, it's just something about it draws me to it. Like I'm probably not going to buy the house you're trying to sell, but I'm like, well, fuck it, let me see what's going on.
Yeah.
You said something about like recently you learned how to like disconnect.
Yes.
I think that's important for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. You need to learn.
But I tried, and like I feel more like an awkward outcast when I'm trying to disconnect from then when I'm working, because when I'm working I know I got to get this out, I got to do this project, I got to make sure this one's going well. But like when I try to disconnect for a weekend,
it's hard.
I'm just like sitting on the couch like
like I could
outcast.
You're sitting there like I could be working.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you. So I've had like spouts in my business where like I am just balls to the wall all the time, working 24/7.
Right.
One thing I would say is there's a difference between being busy and being productive.
Sure.
So like, as realtors, we get invited to every single thing, right? Like happy hours, all kinds of stuff. And what I've learned is that is not something that's going to move the needle in my business.
Right.
Is it important for me to keep relationships with people who are in this area and in my industry? Absolutely. But I'm not going to fill my calendar up with it.
Right.
So the first things that I started doing was, so I had days where like I wouldn't have a day off for weeks. Like it would be 7-8 weeks in a row. I didn't have a day off. And it may not be like working 9-10 hour days, but it's writing an offer, showing a property, or even if it's an hour or two out of my time, I didn't have actually any days off. And you can get burnt out really quick, really fast. And more importantly, like I'm out here working for my kids, right? Like I'm trying to provide a life for my family and my kids and, my husband. But am I really? Because I'm not even seeing them.
Sure.
So it's like I'm out here working and my kids are like, you're never around. Like don't get me wrong, like I would take off and I would put it in my schedule, like go to their school stuff.
Yeah.
Or, I never missed events, but on the day-to-day, I was not present in my kids' lives. And, and every time I would turn around, my daughters were like, well, we didn't tell you, we told Poppy. They call my husband Poppy. They're like, we told Poppy because you're never here. And like, I can't tell you like how many times they've said stuff like that to me. And it's just like, well, I have to work. But it's like, yeah, but so I was having trouble keeping everything straight. So I know this team that runs they're a husband and wife team up north somewhere, and they run a different type of real estate business. And so I had been watching them for a while, and they kind of mastered the work-life balance. And they put on this mastermind little webinar, I guess if you will, like 2 weeks ago. And it was like a 45-minute thing, but it was life-changing. And I even told them, like, you guys like forever changed my life with this 45-minute call, because so a lot of people will sit down and go, okay, you have to have a perfect day, right? Like you have an idea of what a perfect day is. Like I'm going to do this many jobs or whatever, or I'm going to make this many calls or, whatever. Right. For us, it's you want to set appointments, those kinds of things. But so instead of having a perfect day, because that can go to crap in 2 seconds, right? Have a perfect week. So they said, start looking at it from a week perspective. So what they told me was, because I was going on appointments like every day. It didn't matter if it was Monday through Sunday, I was going on appointments. And they said, no, pick 3 days out of the week, go on appointments. So stack them up. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday are my appointment setting days. Okay. So I set appointments and go on appointments those days. And then on Wednesday, I have like, the level up master, the networking that we're a part of. So we have that. So I work up until we go to that meeting. And then after that meeting's over at 1:00, I don't work after that. My husband and I have a date day.
Okay.
So we built that in because we're business partners, right? So it became very easy just to talk about business all the time, 24/7. And you forget sometimes that you're married. Yep. It's very hard to like have those boundaries when you work with your spouse. And so we're working on that, but it's getting better by doing this, what I was taught. And then on Thursdays, I take appointments. Fridays, I do not work because since Silas was about 2, he starts kindergarten this year. We've always done Fridays with Silas, so we call it Silasito Day. And it's whatever he wants to do all day. So he starts telling us on Thursday night, and he knows when it's Friday. He'll say, how many sleeps until Silasito Day? And we're like, oh, it's 4. Right now we're counting down the days to vacation because we leave on Friday. But so he already knows what he wants to do. He'll say, I want to go to the park, or I want to go to the water park, or I want to go to the zoo, or I want to go to the aquarium, or whatever it is. And we do whatever he wants to do for that day. Sure. And that's been awesome because I wish I'd been able to give that to my kids when they were younger, our daughters, although they want for nothing, but time. Yeah. They didn't have the time. Right. We weren't in a place in our life to be able to afford to do that. And then I work every other Saturday now. Okay. So if somebody wants to see a house on a Sunday or at night, and it's a day that I'm not working, I have a showing assistant now that will go and take care of those buyers.
Okay.
So I'll go on listing appointments, but I schedule them on my days that I actually, and I'm not kidding, like, you would think if you work 24/7, 7 days a week, you'd be getting a lot done and it's way more productive, but you're not, because it almost feels like you have to pace yourself because you don't want to burn out.
Yeah.
So like you're doing a little bit throughout 7 days versus like just stacking your days up and doing all the work on those few days. Like I set way more appointments and way more productive knowing that I have set days off coming up.
I mean, you're probably just filling your schedule up with crap too, right? In between like that 24/7 schedule.
Yeah.
Of like, we're just, I'll go to this meeting, which probably has no potential for you at all.
Well, I had to like scale back on my meetings because it was like, I finally had a client one time tell me, like, we sold her house. We did a great job because I have an amazing team, thank goodness. But she said she would reach out to me and I'd say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in a meeting. I'll give you a call back. And she finally said, you are always in a meeting. And I was like, I am always in a meeting. And I'm like, this probably needs to change. Plus, I mean, you know, I don't always like to attend every meeting. And you have to realize sometimes some things you don't have to attend, right?
Yeah.
So like whenever I had people that call me, somebody call me yesterday because I'm on social media a lot and I speak on panels and, you know, and so people know me, I guess. And so she reached out to me and called me and I'm at my listing photo shoot and video shoot for my new listing in Gainesville yesterday. And she just calls me and I pick up the phone. Like I'm actually one of those agents that answers their phone, which is probably why I have so much business.
Absolutely.
But I answer the phone and she just starts, hey, I saw you on this espresso agent video. I wanted to ask you some questions about whatever. And I'm like, you know, can I call you later?
Right.
You know, I'm doing a video shoot. Like I would prefer people, I can text all day, but like it's the 20, 30 minute phone calls across the day that really can fill up your schedule and like be a time suck. So I've learned to put my phone on do not disturb. Just like right now it's on do not disturb.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm doing video, do not disturb. If I'm prospecting, looking for more business, I put on do not disturb. If I'm in a listing appointment, it's on do not disturb.
Yeah.
It doesn't, if I'm showing a house, like if I have an appointment, I'm doing something, it is on do not disturb. And I just tell my clients ahead of time, like, hey, you know, someone's always going to be available to help you, but if you reach out to me and I don't answer my phone, just know it's because I'm in an appointment, just like I'm in this appointment with you. My team is handling my business.
That's what I mean, but you have that team that's backing you up and stuff.
Yeah, but it was really hard to get that.
I'm kind of learning that now because like I have guys, I have like managers and obviously like truck runners and stuff, and like it took me forever to let my managers do stuff. I'm doing it more now, but like
it's still
like
hard.
A beating for me. It's almost like you're giving your baby up. You're like, here, I'll let you take care of it, and then once some small thing happens, you think it's the end of the world. Yeah. You go, nope, I can't let any of you guys do any more shit. I got to do it all again.
Yeah, but that's not the case. Like they have to learn too, right?
Right.
It's not a fun process to have to go through, but it is a necessary one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a struggle for a lot of entrepreneurs, right?
Oh yeah.
Is that like, because you do it, you start out, you're probably by yourself. Maybe you have your spouse. You know, you kind of work together. That's how my wife started. Kind of, she did like the back end stuff for me for a while. But like hiring that first person and then, you know, promoting them to a manager and letting them run stuff was like incredibly difficult. Like, it took forever. I mean, it probably took 2 years.
Well, you have to build that trust with them and know that they're going to handle things the way you would want it to be handled. And to do that, they have to know how you handle things, first of all. And then they need to know how you operate and what your expectations are. So like I've gone through that as well. Like I've tried the building a big team and then I broke it down. It's happened 3 times. I built a big team, had this huge team. Nobody was producing but me. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting rid of everybody. And then I tried it again. And then I tried it again. And this time I'm like, I no longer have that vision to have a big team. But the people that are on my team have been there for so long that like I pretty much just expect them to kind of read my mind. Right. And so I'll send them something and they're like, okay. And then she'll come back and ask me a question. Like my listing coordinator, Mackenzie, she's fantastic. She's about to be 2 years with us. Yeah. She's phenomenal. And so she's taken on, she wears a lot of hats because obviously as we got rid of other people and downsized our team, she took on more responsibility. So I love Mackenzie. She's fantastic. I wish I had 100 of her. But I will send her an email and say, hey, can you do this, this, and this? And she's like, yes. But then she's like, but I have some questions. And I'm like, oh, I just assumed you could read my mind. So I've gotten to the point now where like, I love passing things on to other people and delegating it out because like I could take a nap or you know what I mean? Like
don't listen. All the people listening, don't take too many naps through your career.
Just have it in your schedule.
Just like once. Put it in your schedule. That's
every day at 2:00.
Every day at 2:00?
That's what my schedule used to be.
I mean, you're going to be cutting it close on this one.
I may be taking a nap on the way back.
Right, you're like, just drive. I'm just going to take a nap.
Yeah, but it was cool because I could do that, right? Like you can literally do whatever you want in your schedule. And like we travel a lot too to like try to escape the burnout.
Yeah.
Like we try to do a trip every 3 months on minimum. So like sometimes it's just me and my husband, and sometimes it's with our kids, and we make it a whole family thing.
Wow.
But like it's super important. Like during COVID, when everybody else was like, oh, my business is going to shit and I don't get any business. Well, first of all, it's because you weren't working, because I had, up until last year, my best year ever at COVID in 2020.
Me too.
Just from working. Like I couldn't handle all the business that I had, right? Which is a good thing and a bad thing. But like we took so many trips, because it was like every month or every 6 weeks, I was like, that was the Hunger Games market, where like houses were hitting the market. You had to see it first day, put in an offer, you get rejected, you have to do it over.
Oh shit.
And it was like rinse and repeat. And it was just exhausting for everybody. And so it was important that we took that time off.
Let me ask you that on COVID and stuff, right? Since we're still kind of like brushing off, I guess, the dust of it.
The 2 weeks we were supposed to.
Yeah. 2 weeks turned into
6
eternity.
years.
I seen a lot of companies, and like we started in 2018. So we seen it, right? We were scared shitless, don't get me wrong, just like everybody else was.
Well, yeah.
But like everyone kind of went into their, especially like well-known companies, maybe companies, maybe not well-known, but they're on a momentum train, if you will. They kind of, not all of them, but some of them were like pulled in, right?
Yep.
They're like, turtle shell, I'll just kind of hold on to what I got. But like those were the companies that went away. Like I think I did the same way like that I hear you talking about it, right? Which is, all right, fuck, no one else is going, so I'm gonna go. Let's go.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people underestimate that go when it comes to being entrepreneur, own your own business or whatever. I think. What's
your mindset? Like you either had a scarcity mindset, what was going on, and the whole world was falling apart, and you were, we're all going down on this burning ship together.
Right.
But what I knew was I couldn't, and here's the thing, is like I try to tune out the outside noise, because listen, if you turn on the news or you read any type of newspaper or news article or anything, the world is literally going to shit.
Absolutely.
Like I can't put it any different. I mean, I could, but it'd be better, worse curse words, but it's going to shit. And so, but that's the thing, is like I can't focus on that, because I can't control those things. I have to focus on what I can control.
Right.
And so when everybody else decided they weren't going to work, the ones who stayed in and pivoted and made some changes, like I did listing appointments on Zoom. Because people didn't want people coming to their house, right? And then we also did we got sanitation stations and put those in the houses, and booties and like things like that. I mean, you pivoted, and that was part of the way. That's how we were able to get listings and stuff, was because we were able to let the sellers know, hey, listen, this is the problem, we're solving it by doing this. And if you could solve a problem just in general in the world, if you can solve a problem, your business will always flourish.
That's what sells it. I mean,
it's just solving problems for people. So you can either sit around and go, oh, we have this big problem and the world's going to crap and everything's shutting down, which did affect a lot of people. Some people couldn't do anything about it, right? Like I have a brother and sister-in-law who own a salon. Like there's literally nothing they could have done about that. And so, but like restaurants and stuff like that, they pivoted and they started doing to-go only. Like some of those restaurants, a lot of restaurants closed down and didn't make it back. And the other ones flourished, and it's because they pivoted.
Yeah. I mean, some of those big chain bastards just stayed open because they were allowed to.
Yeah.
But I know you're right. Like for that stint of like talking about restaurants and stuff, I still wanted to go inside and sit down and eat some dinner or lunch or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And,
I was getting like drive-through margaritas like every day. I was like,
jeez.
It was awesome.
I didn't know they do that.
Yeah, they did. Marty B's.
I need to start drinking more.
Yeah. My husband's like, I'm going to Marty B's to pick up your daily margarita, and like I get a gallon.
Just bring it out to your car.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah.
What do you think on like because you talked about like the outside interference, right, or atmosphere, right? Like not kind of really judging which way you go. You just go. As an entrepreneur, right? I've been doing it we're going on 6 years. The ups and downs are there, right?
Oh yeah.
Because like there was a good spot where like we dipped down and like depression's little ugly head creeped in and like damn near destroyed my life and shit. I think like you talked about that pivot and stuff. I think some people kind of get stuck in that foxhole that they don't know what to do because they're in it. I think it's important to kind of at times maybe step back and kind of see where that pivot moment is.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think on trying, because you said you started doing Zooms and stuff like that. You just evolved with what was going on. Yeah. What do you think about like other people kind of listening type of, maybe getting locked down on outside interference, I guess, or however you want to put it?
Well, I see those people all the time on like all these forums on social media. And first of all, I have a very little tolerance, and I mean like I have no tolerance for victim mentality. I think it's because that's how I was raised, is that we are not victims. You know, everybody has problems and everybody has things going on, but you can't be a victim. If you are, you're never going to succeed.
Right.
In anything in your life, right? And so I just always took I'm just gonna do my best. And I mean, like the people who did that, to each their own, but I felt like I was actually happy when a lot of people exited the business, because obviously that gives me more business not that there's not enough already, but if you're not going to service your clients and you're going to step out, because we had people saying like they weren't showing homes for their clients. We picked up so many buyers just because their agent that they were going to work with wouldn't show them homes.
Really?
Yes, they were like scared to death saying, and I get sometimes like people needed to because of like they had underlying issues, and plus there's a lot of false information, right? But that's the thing is here's the thing in general is you can't believe everything you see and read, you know? And so you kind of have to make up your own mind. But my thing is I just knew that one, I didn't have a plan B, like come hell or high water, this was going to have to work.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times when people don't have that cushion or they don't have something to rely on, like a spouse's salary, like I do my best work when my back's up against the wall.
Yeah, me too.
And you talked about like, you know, your mental health and stuff like that. We just talked about this on the panel last week that I put on, but like, it's so important. Like, I mean, just fully transparent, because that's the type of person that I am. Yeah. Last year was by far my most successful year as far as like transaction counts and those kinds of things. I did 108 transactions, which is crazy. Jeez. Like I really don't have the desire to do that again this year. Although I probably will end up close to there. But I had my least profitable year ever. And which is crazy because I sold from January to November, like over 10 transactions a month personally, you know, and then I got to December and it was like, well, I got to like November and everybody started terminating their contracts because the interest rates went up to like 7%. Yeah. And so I had a lot of new build contracts. Well, guess what? They can't lock into their interest rate. So like literally I keep about 10 to 15 pending transactions at all times. Like that keeps me comfortable and happy, and it keeps my anxiety at bay. Yeah. Okay. So when I looked at my pipeline and I'm looking to see what's closing, I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Like I had 2 closings in December. 2 closings doesn't even begin to pay my overhead. Jeez. Like we were living like a $50,000 a month. Like if I didn't make $50,000 a year or a month, I was not breaking even.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So that's because we just went out of control with salaries and spending, and you don't realize that because you're just going, and there's always money in your account. And like there was still money in our account, but then I'm looking at it going, wait a second, the math's not mathing. Yeah. You know, I have this much in our bank account. I'm like, it's costing us $50,000 a month. I have these 2 closings in December. I don't have another one until February. Oh, wow. And I had never, ever, even when I was doing it part-time, doing my CFO job full-time, I never once did not have a closing in a month. And so I went 47 days without a closing. It was the longest 47 days of my life. I woke up one morning and started having panic attacks. I wasn't sleeping. Yeah. I wasn't anything. And you know why I did it is because I got complacent. The reason why it happened was not because the deals fell out of contract. Right. It was because I wasn't working to keep filling my pipeline. Yep. I had gotten complacent. I was used to having the 10 to 15 transactions just kind of falling in my lap. Not really falling in my lap, but I was used to just having on a regular basis that I wasn't tracking the numbers. And like we track everything, but I wasn't looking at it. Yeah. And so then when I started looking at it, then I'm like, well, this is like really bad. Like this is really bad.
Like you see the cash coming in, but you don't know where the hell it's going.
Like the bank account's not going up. Yeah. And then without without having closings for 46 days, I mean, that's $100,000 coming out of our bank account. Yep. So I was like, we immediately went back to basics. And when I mean basics, like we went and said, we're getting rid of these salaries, got rid of over $100,000 worth of salaries. And then we got rid of, I'm talking every expense you can think of that we didn't need. We stopped all of our subscriptions. Hulu, I didn't order from Amazon for 60 days. And I was like, it was the longest 60 days. We cook more at home now more than ever. And now we just got to where we love that. Yeah. Because we were eating out and it was like, we were eating out breakfast, lunch, and dinner all on the weekends. And for a family of 6, and we're eating out all week, like it was a $6,000 or $7,000 a month expense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I could pay a private chef to come to my house. Yep. Like, so I think it's important that you even when you have a lot of business, you have to keep working and you have to keep building your pipeline, because then when those things close, you're dried up. It's like starting over from scratch.
Right. That's what I had the same conversation literally yesterday, because I go to business coaching with Linnell, and I told her about that stint of like depression and all that jazz. And I went, it's because I stopped working. I seen all these all these jobs coming in. I'm like, we're good.
I can take my foot off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as soon as I did it, just downhill.
So I don't know about your business, but in our business, that we're a 90-day cycle. So like when somebody comes to me, because I mentor a lot of agents, I have people that reach out to me all the time saying, will you coach me? I will pay you to be my coach.
Understand.
And for me, I'm like, until I can dedicate myself 100% to it and feel like I have enough value, I will not coach somebody and take money. Like I will mentor you all day and give you advice, but until I feel like I have enough to offer you, I'm not going to do that. Is it on my wheelhouse? Yeah. Is it there yet? No. So I mentor a lot of people and they'll come to me and say, hey, I don't have any business. And the first thing I ask them is, what were you doing 90 days ago?
Yep.
And they'll say, oh, well, you know, I wasn't able to prospect, or I wasn't able to do open houses, or whatever it is. And it's like, well, that's why you're in the position that you're in.
Yeah.
And I have to have that same conversation with myself.
Yep.
But I mean, and the reality is in our business, if you don't close a deal, that means you were doing nothing 90 days ago. And the other reality is, if you need to get a deal, whatever you're doing right now, you're going to reap the benefits of it in 90 days.
Yeah. And that's kind of the same situation with us. I mean, like whatever I mean, maybe it's a little bit short of a window, but I think in 90-day terms anyway, like as far as like health and like just anything like that, right? Like like with electric, I remind my guys, you know, every 30 days you need to remind yourself that this shit can kill you. Yeah. So you don't get complacent and touch something and
that's when mistakes happen.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that 90 days, because I preach that almost like every meeting that we have. I'm like, hey man, 90 days. 3 months, however you want to say it. But you got to remind yourself. Yeah. Don't go walking on the studs because you think you're fucking Spider-Man. Yeah. Remind yourself you can fall.
That'll be when you fall.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. That's weird that you have that concept of, and maybe it's just a realtor thing. I don't know.
I don't know, because it sounds like you and I have a lot of the same like mindset and things that we experience in our business. So I feel like it's just an entrepreneur thing.
I think it's the 1% entrepreneur thing. It's I mean, that's because that's real shit too, right? Like there's, what is the statistics, like 7 to 8% of
small businesses fail.
Well, no, it's like 7-8% of people are entrepreneurs, but like only literally 1% only succeed. Yeah, something like that.
If you make $100,000 a year, this is crazy to think about. If you make $100,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of wealth.
Really?
Yes, I would be homeless if I made $100,000 a year. Like that's crazy to think.
But is that take home, or is it like in your pocket?
Like that's gross, not net.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, if I make $100,000 in a month, yeah, I mean, that's a okay month. You know, it's fine. I'm not mad about it. Right. But I have to have another $100,000 month to be able to keep up and be able to make headway and be able to actually like think about retiring at some point, you know. Yeah. One thing that I started doing, well, one of the things I came up with, and then it just kind of worked, is I figured out if I'm either setting an appointment, going on an appointment, writing an offer, or negotiating an offer, one of those 4 things every single day, then my business it goes better than ever. Okay. And I also have the mindset of like, I wake up every single morning unemployed. I
start like day one.
Yeah. So I start every day like I am unemployed unless I get hired to do work today. So unless I have somebody call me who wants me to help them buy a house, list a house, meet with an investor about partnering up with them or something, like if I don't have that, then I'm unemployed that day.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I focus on like numbers, because what I figured is if you start tracking your stuff, then everything's just numbers. Right. Like I figured out if I go on 20 appointments a month, I keep 10 to 15 transactions pending. Okay. So I have a coach. I have a business coach. I very strongly about them. Completely changed my life and my business to have a business coach. Yep. I think it's super important. Anybody who's an entrepreneur needs to have one.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you don't know what you don't know. Right. And it'll fast pace you. Like you'll be from A to B. Like my business is where it's at in less than 5 years. Okay. And I have people that I've worked with for 15 years that have been in the business, and I blow them out of the water. And they're like, they always ask me like, why do you think you're successful? And to be honest, they probably hate my answer, but I'm like, there is no secret sauce. Like I get up every day and I work. Like you can't teach somebody a work ethic. And if you are an entrepreneur and you don't have a work ethic, you will not be successful, because you won't be able to get business and have it on a consistent basis. Right. And if you chase the money, it's never going to be good either. Yep. What I found is if you just do the right thing, the money's always followed. Yeah. Right. And I get more business by being honest with people. So like I'll go to them and I mean, they'll meet with like 3 or 4 agents and they'll say their house is worth a lot more than I do. But when I sit with them, I'll say, okay, but here's the data. And we're all looking at the same data, or we should be. And if they're not, then you need to question why they're looking at something else. Right. And we all should be around the same amount. And then I would say, if they're telling you your home is worth $100,000 more than I'm telling you, I would question their integrity. I said, because it doesn't mean no good having my sign sitting in your yard.
Yeah.
It only does me good if I sell, and I won't take an overpriced listing. And I've gotten more people to hire me by talking to them because they knew, one, I went in with confidence, but two, I'm not going to waste my time on something that I can't sell.
Right.
Because time is money, and I have salaried staff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time. I've had people I have one in particular that I work with, and he just calls me to list his properties, and I'm no longer going to work with him because it's just a waste of time. Like, he just pulls his listings, doesn't have his business stuff in order, and it's like, I can't keep hand-holding. Like, I have other things I want to do. Yeah. You know?
So he's just like you said, he's just sucking up all your time. And
yeah.
stuff.
And the ones that are the hardest are usually the ones that are the biggest time suck. And I've just found that when my business is running like it's supposed to, I don't have to work with those people when I don't want to work with those people.
And I can respect that, but I mean, I fall into like I'm trying to get myself out of it, but I fall in like a category of like being overly faithful. Yeah. To like contractors and stuff like that. Yeah. And like I'm on the verge of just going, man, you're costing me money to do your job.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like,
so I had to go through that. That's how I know Julie, by the way, is because I'm a very loyal person to a fault. Like, my mom would tell me, it takes a long time for you to get your fill of your shit. Yeah. But then once you get it, like you're done with it. Right. Like I was in a relationship that was very bad, verbally abusive relationship for 6 years on and off. And I remember mom saying, one of these days you're going to have enough and you're going to leave. And when you leave, like there will be no turning back. Yep. And it did. It happened. And it took 6 years. But I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to keep doing this in 6-year increments, right? Right. But so I've learned, like I give all my business to people. Like I know that if they work hard for me, I want to take care of them. Like I have this need to like reciprocate, right? Yeah. But if they keep dropping the ball and they're costing me business, then at some point I have to say, listen, I like you as a person, but I can no longer move forward with you in a business perspective because you're hurting my business now at this point. The ones that take care of me, I take care of them. Well, I mean, which is respectful. I mean, like not respectful, but like that's admiration at its best, right? Because like I struggle with that, and like the fact that you can do that, and like there's no mixed feelings about it. It's just business. I'm getting to that point too, like you said. I mean, it's funny. Maybe your mom knows me. I don't know, but like I don't know. Maybe that's an everybody thing where they only take so much, and when it's done. Yeah. It's kind of how I am. I don't have like a story of like a 6-year stint and shit, but like a you. But like once I'm gone, I'm done. I'm like, yeah. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. No, you won't. Like. I don't think at first I used to think of it as like a bad quality that I had, but no, I don't think of it as a bad quality. It's not my fault that I'm loyal to people who do not step up to the plate and are as generous as I am and do what they say they're going to do. That's not my fault. I'm not going to change who I am, and it's not going to make me jaded, and I'm not going to go around with an attitude that everybody's going to do me wrong or they're going to screw up my business, because you have a choice who you choose to work with. And you just need to get people who represent you. That's where this comes in with like relationships and like knowing people. And like one of the things you were talking about earlier is like, about coaching and not knowing what to do and stuff like that is like like you and I, like we're very similar. We run different businesses, but like we have similar stories and like how we do things and our mindset and things like that. Right. And the same thing with a lot of entrepreneur friends that we have. Yep. And I think it's really important to surround yourself with those types of people, but even better yet, surround yourself with people who are like killing it in your industry, that are doing better than you. Yep. Because people who are doing better than you will rarely criticize you. And in fact, they will also open their doors and say, this is how I did what I did, because they don't have the scarcity mindset. Well, you're right. But those are also the people that like, that want to see you succeed and shit. Yes. I mean, like successful people want to see other people succeed. It's the people that, if they're a decent human being. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Scumbags are scumbags, right? No matter what. Can't do anything about that. But like, that's the thing, is that like that broke mentality shit of like keeping people down so you can get ahead. That's not what successful people do. Those are the people that you want to fucking side tour around and stuff. But like not a lot of people see that. Not, like I've taken bad advice from mentors and stuff like that, and then come to find out that they're just like, they're like envious. Like, how the hell do you have 4 trucks? I only got 2. I don't know, man. I'm just I'm doing what you told me to do. Yeah. Maybe you should do what you told me to do. I don't know. Yeah. I think, and we were talking about like that group of people, right? People, successful people. Like networking is fucking difficult for me. But you're very good at it. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Like I don't like. I'm getting better at it, but I don't like talking to people like level ups and like master networks. That moment where everyone's kind of hanging out after. Yeah, you're kind of like, I gotta go. I just gotta. You know what? I got a meeting I gotta get to. I'm really bad about it. Yeah. Hopefully I don't hurt anyone's feelings by like ducking out. No, I think you're fine. But yeah,
I didn't know anything about networking at all until
Yeah.
Clayton like fucking pushed me into Master
to
Networks.
do it. Yeah.
I would have never done it.
Yeah.
And there's no telling where my business would be right
If
now
you
if I
didn't-
didn't have that networking system.
Yeah. That's the thing. Is like, so I'm very successful, or I credit a lot of my success because of the people that I've put in place in my life.
Yeah.
And one of those is the ecosystem. We call it the ecosystem with our coaching. And so 60% of my business comes from agent to agent referrals, meaning agents in other markets have buyers or sellers that need help here in this market or in Arkansas and Mena, and they refer me business, and I just have to answer my phone. So out of, I did over 60 transactions last year from agent to agent referrals, which is crazy high. Like, that's a lot of agent to agent business. And I did it because I started really diving into the ecosystem and providing things for other agents. Like, hey, I was challenged with doing a 100 listing appointment challenge 5 years ago when I first got into the business full time, and it changed my life. And I got on, and I would do weekly updates on like what was going on and like where I was with the 100 listing challenge and like the things that I was learning and overcoming and obstacles I was having. And so everyone got to know me from that.
Right.
And then it just ended up where it is now, where like everybody just knows me as, the expired queen, where I sell homes that were previously listed by other agents didn't sell.
Yeah.
My tagline is kind of sell it right the second time.
Oh shit.
But when I talk to people and they haven't sold it yet, I'm like, but you have the option to sell it right the first time.
Yeah.
And so, but I get a lot of business from that, and it's just because I poured into the ecosystem, giving advice and information. I have people that reach out to me now saying, how did you do this?
Yeah.
It was not easy. There was a lot of tears and stuff like that. But because I got into networking with other agents in other markets, I now just answer my phone and I get business. I don't have to pay, I don't pay for any business. It's all referral based.
So it's all word of mouth, right?
Yeah, it's all word of mouth, past clients, agent to agent. And it's because I aligned myself and started networking with all these people. And then I see other people doing all these great things, and I'll just go up to them and ask, like, I'll compliment them and I'll say, hey, how are you doing X? And they'll tell me. And even if they're in my market, they'll tell me.
That's not I guess if people listening looking for the secret to success.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm an open
just
book.
Ask.
Yeah, just ask me. Like, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
Like, there's another agent in our market. She's phenomenal. She's a friend of mine, and she's in our ecosystem as well. And she just kills it with luxury. And my goal was to level up on price point this year. I wanted to do less transactions, higher price points.
Okay.
So make more money, work less, like what everybody wants to do, right? But I'm actually doing it. And I went to her and I said, hey, listen, like, I know we're in the same market, but I admire what you do. I've seen you kind of go from where I'm at to where you are now, which is like, she sells $4, $5, $6, $7 million homes.
Yeah.
She had a whole cul-de-sac in Flower Mound. It was like 4 million, 5 million, 6 million. And I said, how are you getting those? And she goes, I'm just asking for the referral. I'm asking for the business.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, okay. But then she taught me that I could do it too.
Yeah.
And taught me, she gave me some information. She lets me use her videographer, all kinds of stuff. Like, and we're not in direct competition with each other. I mean, we are because we're in the same market, but like, her business is her business and my business is mine. But she opened up her door and said, this is how I'm doing it. And let me know.
Plenty enough to go around.
Yeah.
Too, right?
And it's life-changing for people like me.
Yeah.
And something else I learned is like, a lot of times people will come and ask you, and you can give them a roadmap, right? You can go, this is from A to Z. This is how I did what I did. But very few people are going to do it because it takes too much work.
Right. Yeah. So you can give all the secrets you want.
Yeah.
Like you said,
odds of them doing it is very slim.
5% of them might follow this.
Very slim.
Yeah. Well, all right. So what do you think about with we're talking about like networking and stuff, right? Is I've been to some of these network meetings that are very fucking pushy.
Yeah.
Well, here's my card. This is what I can do.
Oh,
I don't
can't
like
stand
that
that.
shit.
I don't like that.
I'd rather go.
The
hey,
card goes in the trash.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, I'm Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm with da 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 da. I was listening to what you said, whatever, and then I'll walk away, and then I'll wait for the next interaction that we have, and then I'll walk away. I wait like give or take 2 or 3 months before I go, hey, you knew I was an electrician, right? I mean, sometimes I fuck with electrical stuff. I don't know if you knew or not. If you know anybody that's looking,
yeah.
I feel like you have to build that camaraderie or just relationship with somebody.
Someone told me you have to earn the right to ask for people's business.
That makes sense.
And so you earn the right by offering to do things for other people.
Yeah.
And then they'll like law of reciprocity, right? They want to return the favor.
Right.
So I've done things. One of my best clients, the one that you went and looked at, he's an investor client. He owns like half the colony, and he started from a for sale by owner, and he was working with another agent that he really liked at the time.
Yeah.
But I reached out to him when he was a for sale by owner because I worked that market, or I used to, and he ended up selling that house, but I gave him a flyer because he was doing an open house himself. And I said, hey, do you happen to have like a flyer or anything that you pass out to anybody? And he said, no, I don't. I said, okay, no problem. problem. So he had really bad photos, but I had to use his photos because that's all I had.
Right.
And so I made him a flyer, nothing special to me, like 5 minutes. I emailed it over to him. So fast forward, I talked to him. He already sold the property. No big deal. Another year passes. He calls me, and I keep people's numbers in my phone like really weird. It's like the Colony Seller or like Middle Fork or like, you know, and so that way when they call, I'm like, oh, hey, you know, like, I know this person somehow, just not sure yet. And then they'll say, I don't know if you remember me. And I'll go, yeah, you own the houses in Colony. And he's, you know, and so he's like, wow. He goes, and, you know, just like little things like that. And so he said, well, you gave me a flyer. And he goes, I always thought that was impressive because you did something for me without asking for anything. Yeah. And he goes, and now, he goes, I did that myself. He goes, I don't want to sell another house myself. And so now he literally just calls me and says, I have this house. Come tell me what I need to do to get the best return on my investment. And so we can turn around and sell it. And it's just steady business all the time with him. And it started because I sent a flyer that took 5 minutes.
But I mean, you said it though. It's what you can do for other people. Like, like you said, if nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it. Who gives it? It took you 5 minutes to do that.
You don't do something now. Don't do it with the expectation that you're going to get something back.
Correct.
But if you do something for somebody, people genuinely want to help people who have done stuff for them. They don't forget those kinds of things most of the time. And it's not rocket science. It's really just treating people the way you would want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Doing the right thing for the right thing and not looking at it from a money perspective, but just right is right perspective.
Just have morals about it and just kind of live.
You'd be surprised like how much business people can have just by doing those few things, which you think should be like non-negotiables and pretty standard.
Right.
There's not. Like, I can't tell you how many people are like talking about how people are just so unethical in any business. It's crazy some of the stuff that goes on, and I'm like, no wonder why everybody thinks that we're douchebags.
I mean, even like talking about like on my industry, like I can't tell you how many within the last year, how many people have told me, well, we hired a GC, we gave them half, never seen anything. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Make it hard for anybody under you, any type of trade that's trying to do their thing, another GC or whatever it might be. No one's gonna trust anybody.
Yeah.
And then we get to the end of it, and then it's the same way on the other end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not going to pay you. Fuck me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On your note of the Colony guy, I don't know if he likes me or not. I sent him a number. And
no, he does.
He was talking, and then like, he would interrupt, and we're like, well, I'll call you back. I was like, all right, well, I tried my best. I did what I could.
No, I'll talk to you about that. But yeah, so no, he was good. He just, he ended up going with somebody else because they came in cheaper. I don't know if they worked any better.
Sure.
We'll see. I have no idea, but, and that's okay. You know, like, but I'm going to keep referring you because you've done work for us. Like any work that we personally done, there's no one else I'm calling. Like you're on my vendor list. You're the only electrician I have on my vendor list. Just like Clayton's the only plumber.
You can get rid of that guy.
I mean, there's space for another plumber, but
that guy's an asshole.
You know, but like that's the thing is like, as many transactions as I do, like I have clients that will come to me and say, I don't even look for vendors. I just come to you because you have the best people. Okay. And that says something too about their trust for me. Mm-hmm. So anybody who aligns themselves with me, it's like, I kind of give them a gift with a little bow. Cause it's like, if I'm going to be successful, I'm taking the people with me.
But they have to earn that from you too, right? Like,
we personally vet everybody that we use. So I don't have anybody on my list that we have not personally had to our home to do something or work with us at some capacity. Right. Like it's never like somebody told me that somebody was good. Like I have to use them myself.
I mean, you sound like we did some work for Nick and the Level Up, and I tried everything to regroup that relationship. Because I sent a guy that's no longer here with us, did some fucked up shit. You know, we went out and fixed it and made it right. But like,
still,
I always had this gut feeling. I was like, man, this dude just waiting to find me in the back of an alley and sucker punch me or some shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, that means that's hard, right? Because like you're giving your name out there, like how am I trying to say that? Like
it's your reputation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's the same thing.
And if somebody does a bad job, they're gonna be mad at you.
Yeah. And it's the same thing like hiring within, like hiring technicians for us, other realtors, like for a team for you. Like you're putting your name out there, and as anything else, sometimes shit can go sideways. And you're kind of dealt with the hand you have. And stuff.
Oh yeah. I've just learned to be slow to hire and quick to fire.
Fuck, I wish that damn it, I do that backwards.
Yeah. Most people do.
I've held on
I've
to
made
people
so many
going,
mistakes. Like I could write a whole book on like the shit you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
By Shawna Martinez.
Get a chapter of it or something.
I mean, I could write a whole book on like, I did this stupid shit, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, when I tell people, I'm like, I'll tell you what not to do.
Yeah.
And I'll say it's because I've done it or,
That's
I've made that mistake.
That's kind of the point of this podcast too, is like, to bring on people on here to like, you know what, I did some, don't do it this way, try to avoid this shit.
Yeah. Let me save you some trouble, headache, time, and money.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, it's we can give them A to Z. where they fucking go by and listen is their own obligation.
But if they're on your team or they're an employee and they don't, then obviously you can do something about that.
Sure.
But if it's somebody from an outside or whatever, like they're going to do whatever they want, just make a mental note. Okay, I'm not going to do business with these people.
Right.
Yeah.
I have another question. I bounce all over the place. It's
I love it.
More
like
of a conversation.
I love it. Yeah.
Than a fucking like an interview, right?
I love it.
A lot of people, and I don't know how many in the level up are entrepreneurs, like working for someone else. I don't know if they're all entrepreneurs or not. I try to follow what their shindig is, but sometimes
I think there might only be a couple.
Yeah.
I think there might only be a couple people who like don't work for themselves.
Really?
I think the majority, and we're over 30 members in that group now.
Yeah.
I think only a few of them are not like their own business.
I mean, that's not I know this is wrestling with entrepreneurship, but like there's fucking nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur. There's less stress.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to take it home with you every day. And that's what I try to preach to my guys here. I'm like, well, just grow with me.
Yeah.
Let me put on the fucking hat of all the stress and just do your end. That way we all grow and everything's kosher.
I know some teams that will literally show their team a profit loss statement. So like, because they're given a certain amount of their commission and they're always like, because people don't understand how much it costs to own your own business.
Absolutely not.
It costs so much money. And when I say I cut $110,000 worth of salaries, that's just a blip. I mean, that's like not even close to what we pay to run our business from a salary standpoint.
Right.
Never mind the fact that we have to have, we have to pay for photos and, all the different stuff. Like it's a very expensive business to be in, but I think that's pretty close across the board for most entrepreneurs. So they actually are very transparent. They sit down with their team once a quarter and they say, this is how much money we brought in.
Right.
This is how much we paid. And then they said they don't have problems with people saying that they want to go out on their own because like they're paying, some teams will pay $100,000 a month plus for Zillow leads.
Jeez.
And all they have to do is go out and close them.
Yeah.
And the team is paying for it. And then, so when you have people who don't want to, or they sit there and they say, oh, they're making all this money off of me. It's because they don't understand what it costs to run a business and what I make off of your portion of the commission. Just know that like, by the time I pay all expenses, I'm like breaking even.
Yep.
And I have to be in personal production because otherwise I would make no profit.
Right.
That's what people don't understand.
I think, and like I say that, I don't say it. I want to say it. But like the guys that come knocking on the door, like, I'm just looking for a couple dollars. I'm like, well, that's probably about $6 an hour technically.
Yeah.
After I pay for your insurance and this and that and that.
Oh yeah. When you start running your business like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think
we just started doing that in the last like 2 years, and I'm like, I'm happy and I'm sad at the same time because, and I think you probably know what I mean, because once you do everything legit, it costs you a lot more money.
Yeah.
And then, so we have a CPA that sends us a monthly profit and loss, and I love it. And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, because I only see what's in our bank accounts, right? And I usually don't even look at those. My husband handles that. I try not to do it. But I get a profit loss and I'm like, first of all, I love this. And second of all, I hate these numbers.
Right. You're like, what the hell is insurance
like,
401k?
Lie to me a little bit. Lie to me.
What the hell is this?
Like, I made this much money and I only profited this much. Like, we need to rethink this.
That's what kind of sucks there. And like, we used to have it. I used to have it on one of my mini whiteboards. Is like the monthly of like what we brought in, because I think that's what guys look at, and we're trying to like kind of work that angle of like going, you worked this many jobs this month, you brought in this much, but I'm not sure if that's gonna bite me in the ass or not, because I mean those guys go, well, I brought $200,000 in this month. Yeah, but it costs $160,000 out of that 200 to run this fucking place.
Yeah.
It's just
when Clayton said he had 20 employees, I was actually listening to you on the way here.
Yeah.
I turned around and looked at my husband. I go, I don't even want to know what his payroll is. Like, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. I mean, obviously they have to have business coming in, but here's the thing is like that those costs are there regardless of whether you bring in income or not. So if you're not bringing any more income in, then you can go out of business real quick.
Very, very fucking quickly.
Yes.
And you can go out of business if somebody takes advantage of you. Like, just last December, I'm just now kind of catching myself here. Somebody stiffed us on 30 grand, and like there was weeks I was looking in the bank account, I went, all right, I got 5 grand. Yeah. Let me see what the fuck I need to do. Yeah. Let me go put some tools on. Let me go
But nothing makes me more productive, like I said, than having my back up against the wall. So as soon as I knew at the end of the year, when all hell was breaking loose, I was going through my panic attacks and all that kind of stuff. And I still have them a little bit from time to time because I live with like a high level of anxiety anyways, just with all the pressure and all the things that I try to accomplish in a very short amount of time. I'm like basically trying to take over the world. I mean, you know.
I'm also trying to take over the world. So
well, you can have a half and I'll take the other
conflict
half. For us. Conflict of interest. There's plenty of the world to go around for us.
I guess.
But you know, I forgot what I was going to say now. But yeah, so
anxiety.
So I live with a certain level of anxiety, but like when I looked at my bank account and knew, okay, if I don't close something or if I don't start getting to work, then we're gonna have to sell our house, or we're gonna have to, you know, like, and that's the thing is I would have done all of that to do whatever I needed to stay in the business. But I'm like, no, wait a second, like this is a problem I can fix. Yeah. You know, and I lost $250,000 in the first quarter of last year with my team. So people, when they talk about business, they talk about, you know, on paper I made over $1 million, but I can assure you I did not make $1 million. Like by the time I can assure you I did not make $1 million. I wish I did, you know, but here's the thing is like, whenever I saw that I was in a bad spot, I immediately went to work. And what's crazy is I didn't have my first closing in 2023 until middle of February. And then February was my most profitable month I've ever had. I closed. Yeah. I closed so many transactions in 2 weeks of February, like better than any other single month ever.
Jeez.
Just because, and that's just a testament to like, I got to work. Yeah. And I was like, I have to do this. Like, what's the alternative?
But I think in my opinion, like there's a difference, because I work that way too, right? I like when like pressure's on type shit. But almost like wishing, or like, what is it? Speaking into existence. I think it was around like November or October last year, right before we took that hit from that contractor and stuff like that. I told one of my guys, I was like, man, I need more struggle, man. I just don't know if I don't feel like I'm doing anything. And it came, you
want that?
It came hard. Like, and when I talk about like depression, like not a lot of people know it because I'm not an open book like you are. Maybe I should be at some point, but
to each their own.
I mean, in February, like your good month was my
bad month.
How fast do I need to go to hit this fucking bridge type mentality. It sucked, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of people go through that. I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through that. And just in general, people go through that. But I could have went fuck it, 150, take seatbelt off. Yeah. But I went back to that mentality like you were saying a minute ago, back against the walls, like, all right, I'm not a bitch, so let me figure out what I need to do to get the hell out of this and move forward.
Yes. I actually had a shirt made up. There's an agent in Philadelphia, Tom Toole, who like he's very, very structured. Like runs an amazing, phenomenal team up there. He's very successful. And I posted something on social media about Peloton. I was really into Peloton up until like last year. And he said, don't be a little bitch. And so I had a shirt made up. And so every time I was on my Peloton and it was like really hard and I wanted to give up, I would think, oh, don't be a little bitch. And like,
it just stuck with you.
Yeah, it just stuck with me. And it's true. I mean, it is true though. Like, you have two choices. You can sit in the corner and be in the fetal position and cry about it, or you can go out and do something about it. Amen. And I'm just one of those people, I'm the latter. I'm like, I'm just going to go out and fix this situation. And I'm still playing catch up, right? I mean, because that's a lot of money, that $250,000 to lose in the first quarter of, that's the first 3 months of the year last year. And that's more than most people make all year. Way more. And so we're still, and you know, so I got caught up and I was telling my coach, oh, I feel so good now. Like, he's like, oh, I can tell you're different. I'm like, yeah, you know, like all these deals are closing. I feel good. And then I had to pay all the taxes. And so my husband was like, okay, we're cutting this check and this check and this check out of our account. And I'm like, can we do an extension? Like, he's like, this is with the extension. I'm like, okay, just do it. Yeah, dang. And I told my coach, I was like, I almost feel defeated because like I made all this progress. And then now it's like, you know, but now everything's paid. I'm like, okay, I adulted and now everything's legit. But it's not fun sometimes being an adult.
Maybe that's that, your coach probably says it, that thermostat mentality, right? I don't know, like, you know what I'm talking about, where you kind of dial yourself back to, I'm bad about it. Like, grew up poor, didn't have money, so I have that mentality. So once I get like a hot streak, life seems to bring me back down to where I was at.
Yes. I came from nothing. My parents worked their way up. Like, I grew up in a mobile home park most of my life. My dad worked his way up from a laborer to, when he retired last year, he was the CEO of the biggest highway construction company in Texas. My mom owned a real estate company until she passed away. Like, you know, she was very successful in what she did. But we came from nothing. Like, my parents didn't have we didn't come from money. You know, we never went without, but like we didn't have any excess of anything, and anything we wanted, we had to work for.
But I mean, it sounds like you had somebody to at least admire, right? Like, like your mom running the realtor, and then your dad, starting from literally ground zero to CEO.
They just worked. I just learned how to work. And my mom had a kidney transplant, so she had kidney failure at the age of 28.
Oh, wow.
She had her first kidney transplant, and so like we had to learn to get ourselves up for school and get ourselves on the bus. And she never once complained. And my dad worked all day, and then would be at the hospital at night with her. And so like we were basically raising ourselves. I was 8.
Jeez.
And so my brother and I were like, we'd learn how to make our own dinner. Like my mom would come out of the hospital, we would just say, "Can we please have something besides pizza and spaghetti?" Because that's all we knew how to make and how we knew how to order. And so like, but you know, like we learned at a very young age that like shit's gonna happen, and you can't just sit in the corner and cry about it. Like life is not easy, it's not fair, but it's a lot of what you make of it. And so I just learned from like specifically from my mom that like we're not going to sit around and complain about things, because we can sit around and complain all day. You have to be able to go out and solve problems, otherwise what's the point? You can sit around and complain about it. I tell my kids the same thing. I'm like, either you can sit around and complain about it, or you can do something about it. I'm not the coddle parent.
It's okay.
It's a whole other podcast. But I told my husband, if anything, when my girls get older, like they'll be strong, independent women. And I go, and if I can say I had a part in that, like
all is good. Worth it. I need to just send my little 2-year-old girl over to your house. Here you go, just hang out with Shawna for a little bit.
No, I'll treat her like Silas, and she'll have whatever she wants.
She beats the shit out of her 2 older brothers, so it doesn't matter.
She has to survive.
Yeah, she's a tough little runt.
Yeah, she has to be. She's got 2 older brothers.
That's I'm trying to. I haven't looked that over to you, so I don't know if you're doing this shit. So I like.
She's like, wrap it up.
And shit. That's why it's easier. I don't see you now, so I know. 2 hours in, what the fuck you mean?
This is part 4.
Right. I just want to say something like you talk about that grittiness, right, of just fucking fetal position or go. Again, like we live fucking like parallel shit. Because I say that I say that and I move in those motions like almost my entire life. Of like I can be a little bitch, like you said. And just take what the world gives me, or I can fucking kick back and shit. And like,
no one's gonna come and save you.
Right.
You have to save yourself.
And that's the whole thing, right? And you can't, and you almost to a point where you can't do anything for anyone else unless you pull yourself out of the fucking hole, right? That's cool. Like this podcast was kind of refreshing. Like it was a unique one. Like I didn't know we had so many like
in common.
Yeah. Because I love that. You have that high D, right?
Yeah, I'm all D, all I.
Yeah, okay. That's what I figured. Because you went to Linnell's seminar too thing, and I was like...
My husband's exactly opposite. Not that you need a test to show that.
Yeah.
But if you look at us on paper, I'm all D, all I, like 100%, 0 on the other ones. And he is like 100% SC, nothing on DI. And that's how we stay married 9 years happily and don't kill each other.
Not yet. I mean, I need to ask him if he's being abused or anything.
He's like, only sometimes.
There's a safe place he can go to.
He told me he's going to build a safe room in our house. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And he goes, for us and the kids, away from you. And I'm like...
you don't get the pin code to this one. I guess I need to talk to him after the podcast. I'm
going to tell the contractor, we're not doing that shit.
No, I mean...
Yeah, this is awesome.
My CD takes over, so that's what I am too, so I understand. I like to do this again. I know I've been given the wrap up symbol. Keep it in there. Fuck it.
She says we got to stop.
Yeah, she's always bad about that. My bad. We need to do this again. So before you leave, we'll figure out another date. And just
that'd be awesome.
We'll ramble about other bullshit.
Oh yeah. We can talk shit about Clayton.
Fuck you, Clayton.
Sign me up.
I'm gonna tag him in this fucking.
You should. You should.
Why don't you tell? I mean, you've told me a lot of stories already, but I like to ask the random question, like, what was like a standout moment for you that kind of changed either your business career or maybe just your life in general, like something that maybe kind of clicked and you went, that makes sense, let me go that direction?
Oh gosh. I was reading a book by Ryan Serhant, so maybe not the answer you're looking for, but this is what always comes to mind. I like to read books. And so I read a book by Ryan Serhant, which I love, from $1 Million Listing. And he writes in his, like, the first chapter, he talks about how he went to like a convenience store to get a cheese stick and like a yogurt or something, and his card declined, and he was saying like he literally had no money, could not even buy like food for himself. And he was and he talked about, you know, like his why and what motivates him. And I will say, when I was in real estate full time for the first year, we went through like all of our money, all of it. And so we ended up having to sell our house to stay in the business. And I had a coaching call with one of my coaches at the time, and I was on the call, and it's a Zoom call because she's in South Carolina. And I just remember she looked at me and she's like, something's going on, like, what's going on? And I just immediately just started crying because I was like scared, you know, like, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to do? And I realized at that point, right then at that second, I realized I never, ever, ever want to feel like that again. I will work my ass off so that I never have that feeling ever again. It's the worst feeling in the world. And so I just have learned that I keep that in the back of my mind when I want to get complacent.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm never going back there. Like, I will never be in that position ever again. Okay. And when I knew that, I just did what I had to do. And then from then on, I just always make sure I do what I need to do so that never happens again.
So you held it's kind of like held a spot in your brain, at least.
Oh yeah.
Of never, like, that's.
It's like I could sit here right now. I could picture what I felt like, what I was wearing, what I mean. I remember where I was sitting, everything when we had that conversation. Like, no question, like, life pivoting moment.
Jeez. Okay. I mean, that's deep. I mean, realistically, somebody listening is going, you know, all right, I need to make that stop point in my head. Like, I don't ever want to be homeless again. I don't ever want to be whatever again. I need to make sure I bust my ass so I'm never in that predicament again.
Yeah.
Amen. I like that. That's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I need to do this too. I erased it off the whiteboard because I don't remember shit. Where can people find you at? Like social medias, Facebooks, Instagrams?
I'm on all the things.
Yeah.
So you can find me. I'm Shawna Martinez. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm starting to do more on YouTube and things like that. So if you just Google Shawna Martinez Realtor, I will pop up. I am the one and only.
And just hit the like button. Oh, you got the blue check on one of the things.
I do. On my Instagram and Facebook, finally. I am verified. I'm serious now.
Fancy. Yeah. Well, Shawna, as always, not as always. That doesn't make any fucking sense. You've never been there before.
We're cutting that.
No, keep all that in there. Well, Shawna, thanks for stepping in the ring with us here at a Wrestling with Entrepreneurship. Like I said, we're gonna find another date and we're gonna do it again because fuck it.
This was awesome. Yeah, I love this.
I don't know if I still need to have like a cutoff thing, don't I? Keep all this in there. That's it for today.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome. Yeah. You need to do like a outro.